The neutral zone was a space station floating in the emptiness between two star systems. It belonged to neither the Talrin nor the Nexari, maintained by the Galactic Council as a place where enemies could meet without fear. The Dawnseeker approached slowly, scanning for threats. "I am detecting multiple warships," Hana reported from navigation. "Talrin vessels on one side, Nexari on the other. Both fleets are heavily armed." Captain Nari studied the view screen. "They do not trust each other. They are here for peace talks but prepared for war. One wrong move and this whole station could become a battlefield." The station's docking control granted them permission to land. As they guided the ship into the bay, Hyunwoo felt the tension radiating from every crew member. 6 months of work, danger, and sacrifice came down to this moment. The heart of Kelmar sat in a secure container on the bridge. It glowed softly, pulsing with light that seemed to respond to the emotions around it. Hyunwoo had learned that the artifact was not just a religious symbol. It was a piece of ancient technology that both civilizations believed could communicate with their gods. "The representatives are waiting in the main hall," Nari said. "Mina and I will deliver the heart. The rest of you stay here and keep the ship ready for departure. If anything goes wrong, we leave immediately." "Captain," Hyunwoo said, "let me come with you." Everyone turned to look at him. "Why?" Nari asked. "Because I am human," Hyunwoo explained. "I'm not Talrin or Nexari or Valari. I am neutral. If there are problems, maybe my perspective can help. I have watched you negotiate with station officials and traders. I have learned some things about diplomacy." Nari considered this. He makes a good point. A human presence might remind them that other species are watching. It might help them behave with honor. Or it might provoke them, Yuna warned. "Everything might provoke them," Mina said. "But I agree with the human. Let him come." The main hall was enormous, with a ceiling that stretched high above them. On one side stood the Talrin delegates, tall beings covered in shimmering scales that changed color with their emotions. On the other side were the Nexari representatives, insectoid creatures with multiple arms and compound eyes that saw in spectrums humans could not perceive. Between them stood members of the Galactic Council, there to observe and ensure fair proceedings. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. Captain Nari stepped forward, carrying the container. "I am Captain Nari of the Dawnseeker. I have brought the heart of Kelmar as requested. It will be placed in neutral custody until both parties agree on its final disposition." One of the Talrin delegates hissed, his scales flashing red. "We know you, Valari. You claim neutrality, but everyone has a price. How do we know you did not tamper with the heart? How do we know this is not a trap?" "The container has not been opened," Nari said calmly. "It is sealed with council locks. You can verify this yourself." A Nexari clicked her mandibles aggressively. "Words mean nothing. The Talrin cannot be trusted. They will try to steal the heart the moment it is placed in custody. This is all a waste of time." The Talrin delegates roared in anger. The Nexari responded with threatening gestures. Weapons were not drawn, but the situation was escalating rapidly. The council observers looked worried. Hyunwoo stepped forward before he could talk himself out of it. "Excuse me," he said loudly. Everyone stopped and stared at him. A Talrin delegate's scales turned a confused purple. "What is this, a human? What is a human doing here?" "I am part of the crew that brought the heart," Hyunwoo said. "I have been traveling with them for 6 months. I have watched them protect this artifact through pirate attacks, equipment failures, and countless dangers. They could have sold it to the highest bidder. They could have kept it for themselves. But they did not. They brought it here because they believe peace is possible." He looked at the Talrin, then at the Nexari. "I am from Earth. We do not have a part in your war. I have no reason to lie to either of you, and I am telling you that this crew risked everything to bring you this chance at peace. Do not waste it because you cannot trust each other. If you cannot trust each other, at least trust in the dedication of those who brought you here." The hall was silent. Then one of the council observers spoke up. "The human speaks wisdom. The Valari have indeed fulfilled their contract with honor. Let us proceed with the verification." Slowly, carefully, the ceremony continued. The container was opened under the watchful eyes of representatives from all parties. The heart of Kelmar was revealed, glowing with its ancient power. Both the Talrin and Nexari delegates stepped forward to examine it. Hyunwoo held his breath. This was the moment when everything could fall apart. Then a Talrin elder spoke, his voice filled with emotion. "It is real. After all these years it has come home." A Nexari elder clicked softly. "To both our homes, As it should be. Perhaps that is what it was always meant to teach us. That it belongs to both our peoples, not one or the other. The tension in the room shifted. It did not disappear completely, but it changed into something more hopeful. The representatives began to talk, carefully at first, then with more openness. The peace talks had officially begun. Captain Nari and her crew were dismissed with gratitude and full payment for their service. As they walked back to the Dawn Seeker, Mina clapped Hyunwoo on the shoulder hard enough to make him stumble. "That was a good speech," she said. "Very human. Very brave. Or very foolish," Yuna added, but she was smiling. Back on the ship there was a celebration. Sora had saved special Valari drinks for this occasion, and even though they tasted strange to Hyunwoo, he drank them anyway. The crew laughed and told stories about the journey. For a few hours they forgot about everything except being together, but the celebration ended too soon. Captain Nari made an announcement. "We will be returning to Orbital Station Epsilon 7 in 3 days. We will arrive at the same station where we began this journey, where Hyunwoo first boarded our ship by mistake." She looked at him. "It is time for decisions to be made." Those 3 days passed too quickly. Hyunwoo helped with final repairs and ship maintenance. He cooked one last meal for the crew using the supplies Hana had gathered for him. He tried to memorize every detail of the ship, every face, every moment. On the final day, he stood in his cabin, looking at the few belongings he had accumulated during his 6 months aboard. It was not much, but each item held memories. There was a knock on the door. The entire crew stood outside. Yuna spoke first. "I will miss arguing with you about engineering. You are wrong about most things, but sometimes you are right in ways I would never have considered." Mina was next. "You showed me that strength is not about being the biggest or the toughest. It is about standing up when you are afraid." "Thank you for that lesson." Sora handed him a small pendant. "This is a Valari charm for protection. Wear it and know that you will always be in our thoughts." Hana stepped forward last. Her golden eyes were wet with tears. "I do not want to say goodbye," she whispered. "So I will not. I will just say that meeting you was the best mistake that ever happened to me." Captain Nari did not speak. She simply nodded with respect, the kind of respect one gives to an equal. The Dawn Seeker docked at Orbital Station Epsilon 7, the same station where Hyunwoo's journey had begun 6 months ago. He stood at the airlock looking down the corridor that led back into the station, back to Earth, back to his old life. "You are free to go," Nari said. "We have contacted Earth authorities and explained the situation. Your family has been notified that you are alive. They are waiting to hear from you." Hyunwoo activated his datapad and saw the messages. His family had mourned him. They had held a memorial service. They had moved on with their lives. His old apartment had been rented to someone else. His job had been filled. 6 months was a long time. Life had continued without him. He looked back at the crew, at these strange alien women who had become his family, at the ship that had become his home. "I contacted Earth," Hyunwoo said quietly. "I told my family I'm alive and safe. I told them I love them. And I told them I am not coming home. Not to Earth anyway," Hana gasped. "What do you mean?" Hyunwoo turned fully away from the airlock. "I mean, I am already home. I boarded the wrong ship 6 months ago. But somehow I ended up exactly where I was supposed to be. If you will still have me, I want to stay. I want to be part of this crew, officially." For a moment, no one moved. Then Nari smiled, a genuine smile that transformed her stern face. "The ship would be honored to have you as a permanent crew member. Welcome aboard, Hyunwoo. Welcome home." The crew rushed forward, embracing him. Yuna punched his arm affectionately. Mina laughed, a sound he had rarely heard from her. Sora squeezed his hand, and Hana hugged him tightly, her face pressed against his shoulder. They walked back into the ship together. The airlock closed behind them, sealing Hyunwoo's choice. He did not look back. There was no need. His future was ahead of him, among the stars. 6 months later, Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of the Dawn Seeker as they prepared for another mission. He wore a Valari crew uniform modified for human proportions. He spoke the language fluently now, though he still made mistakes that made Hana laugh. His position was officially listed as cultural liaison and assistant engineer, but really he was just part of the family. Captain Nari received the mission briefing. The moon was cold and barren, with a thin atmosphere that barely allowed them to breathe outside. The Dawn Seeker sat in a rocky valley, its damaged hull reflecting the pale light of a distant sun. For the next 3 weeks, the crew worked from dawn to dusk repairing the ship. Hyunwoo discovered that he was actually good at this kind of work. Years of maintaining old cargo ships had taught him to improvise and fix things with whatever materials were available. Yuna initially resisted his suggestions, but after he solved a problem with the shield generator using nothing but spare wire and a piece of scrap metal, she started asking for his input more often. "You think differently than we do," Yuna told him one day as they worked together in the engine room. "Volari engineers follow strict protocols. We do things by the book. But you look at a problem and see solutions we would never consider. It is frustrating and impressive at the same time." Hyunwoo laughed. "On Earth, we have a saying. Necessity is the mother of invention. When your equipment is old and parts are expensive, you learn to be creative. I'm learning more from you than I did in 4 years at the academy," Yuna admitted. "Do not tell anyone I said that. Your secret is safe with me." While working on the ship, Hyunwoo and Hana spent their free time exploring the moon. Her hands had healed well, though Sora warned her not to do any heavy work for a while. So instead, she and Hyunwoo went on long walks across the rocky landscape. One day, they discovered something incredible. At the bottom of a deep crater, partially buried in the moon dust, they found the entrance to ancient ruins. Stone structures carved with symbols neither of them recognized. Inside, they found technology that still hummed with power after thousands of years. "This is amazing," Hana breathed, her eyes wide with wonder. This civilization must have been incredibly advanced. "Look at this power source. It has been running for millennia without any maintenance." Hyunwoo examined a wall covered in detailed carvings. "I wish I could read these symbols. They might tell us who built this place and what happened to them. Maybe they left like we might leave someday," Hana said quietly. "Maybe they found a new home among the stars and never came back." They spent days exploring the ruins together. Hana documented everything with her datapad, while Hyunwoo helped her navigate the collapsed tunnels and flooded chambers. During those long hours in the ancient darkness, something changed between them. Their conversations grew deeper, more personal. "Do you miss Earth?" Hana asked him one day. Hyunwoo thought about it. "I miss some things. I miss my family. I miss the food. I miss knowing how everything works. But honestly, I do not miss my old life as much as I thought I would. Being here on this ship with all of you, it feels more real than anything I did before." Hana looked at him with an expression he could not quite read. "We will reach our destination in 2 months. After we deliver the heart, we will return to our home station. You will be able to go back to Earth then." "I know," Hyunwoo said, though something in his chest tightened at the thought. Back at the ship, Captain Nari received a long-range transmission from the Galactic Council. Hyunwoo was helping Yuna calibrate the sensors when Nari called everyone to the bridge. Her face was grave. "The Council is growing impatient," Nari said. "Both the Tal'Ren and the Nexari are demanding to know why we are delayed. They suspect treachery. The peace talks are in danger of collapsing before they even begin." "How much time do we have?" Sora asked. "We have 2 weeks to reach the neutral zone," Nari replied. "But the ship is not fully repaired. If we leave now, we might not make it. If we stay to finish repairs, we will be late." Silence fell over the bridge. Every crew member understood the weight of this decision. Millions of lives hung in the balance. Hyunwoo spoke up. "What are the risks if we leave now?" Yuna answered. "The shield generator is still unstable. If we encounter any hostile forces, we will be vulnerable. The navigation system is also not operating at full capacity. We could get lost or delayed by stellar phenomena." "But the engines work?" Hyunwoo asked. "Yes," Yuna confirmed. "The engines are fine." Hyunwoo looked at Captain Nari. "Then I think we should go. You did not come this far to give up now. Sometimes you have to take risks for things that matter. And this matters." Mina nodded in agreement. "The human is right. We knew this mission was dangerous when we volunteered. If there is even a chance we can end this war, we have to try." One by one, each crew member voiced their support. Even Yuna, who had wanted to finish the repairs properly, agreed that the mission was more important than her pride. Nari looked at each of them, then nodded. "We will vote. All in favor of leaving now, raise your hand." Every hand went up, including Hyunwoo's. Nari smiled for the first time in weeks. "Then we go. Everyone prepare for departure. We launch in 2 hours." As the crew scattered to their stations, Sora stopped beside Hyunwoo. "Can I speak with you for a moment?" They walked to the observation deck where the moon's surface stretched out beneath them. Sora was quiet for a long time before she spoke. In Valari culture, crew bonds are sacred, she said. When people serve together on a ship, they become family. Not by blood, but by choice and shared experience. Do you understand? I think so, Hyunwoo said. We have all grown attached to you, Sora continued. Even Mina, though she would never admit it. You are part of our crew now, part of our family. When this mission ends and we return you to Earth, it will be difficult for all of us. Hyunwoo felt his throat tighten. It will be difficult for me too. Sora placed a hand on his shoulder. Then know that you will always have a place here. Whatever you decide, we will respect it. But we want you to know that you belong with us. That night, as the Dawn Seeker lifted off from the moon and jumped into hyperspace, Hyunwoo could not sleep. He stood in the observation deck watching the stars blur past and thought about what Sora had said. He had a life on Earth, a family who thought he was dead, friends who had probably moved on without him. But here, on this alien ship with these strange women who had become his family, he felt something he had never felt before. He felt like he mattered, like he was part of something bigger than himself. The door to the observation deck opened and Hana entered. She stood beside him in comfortable silence, watching the stars together. I have been thinking, Hana said eventually. After we deliver the heart, the crew will receive a large payment. We could use that money to modify the ship, make it more comfortable for a human, add a proper galley so you could cook real Earth food. Maybe even add better translation systems so communication would be easier. Hyunwoo looked at her. Why would you do that? Hana met his gaze. Her golden eyes reflected the starlight. Because we do not want you to leave. Because you are one of us now. Because the ship would feel empty without you. She reached out and took his hand. Her skin was cooler than his and her fingers were longer, but it felt right. Stay with us, Hana said quietly. Please. Hyunwoo did not answer right away. He looked out at the stars and thought about everything that had happened. About the wrong turn that had led him here. About the crew who had become his family. About the choice he would soon have to make. Let's finish the mission first, he said finally. Then I will give you my answer. But in his heart, he already knew what that answer would be. 3 months had passed since Hyunwoo accidentally boarded the Dawn Seeker. Life on the ship had become almost normal. He ate meals with the crew in the mess hall. He helped Yuna with repairs when she needed an extra pair of hands. He spent hours talking with Hana about their different worlds. Even Mina had stopped watching him like he might attack at any moment, though she still kept her distance. One evening, Captain Nari called everyone to the bridge for a meeting. Her face was serious as she looked at each crew member. Her gaze lingered on Hyunwoo for a moment before she spoke. I think it is time you knew the truth about our mission, Nari said. Hyunwoo has been with us for 3 months. He has proven himself trustworthy. He deserves to know what we are carrying and why we cannot turn back. She activated a holographic display that showed a small crystalline object. It glowed with an inner light that seemed to shift through different colors. This is the heart of Kelmar, Nari continued. It is a diplomatic artifact that holds great significance to 2 alien civilizations, the Tal'Ren and the Nexari. These 2 species have been at war for 15 years. Millions have died. Both sides are exhausted, but neither will surrender. This artifact is sacred to both cultures. It was stolen centuries ago, and both sides claim it belongs to them. Yuna spoke up. Our job is to return the heart to a neutral location where representatives from both sides can meet. If we succeed, they will begin peace negotiations. If we fail, the war continues. Hyunwoo felt the weight of those words. That is why you could not turn back when I boarded. Yes, Nari said. We have a deadline. If we are even 1 day late, the peace talks will collapse. Both sides will assume treachery. The war will continue, perhaps for another 15 years, Sora added quietly. This mission could save millions of lives. That is why we all volunteered for it, even though it is dangerous. Dangerous how? Hyunwoo asked. Before anyone could answer, the ship's alarm began to wail. Red lights flashed across the bridge. Hana's console lit up with warnings. We have incoming vessels, Hana said urgently. 3 ships. They are not broadcasting identification codes. They are moving to intercept us. Pirates, Mina said, her hand immediately going to her weapon. They must have heard about the heart. Captain, we need to run. Nari's jaw tightened. All power to engines. Prepare evasive maneuvers. The Dawn Seeker lurched forward as Hana pushed the ship to maximum speed, but the pursuing vessels were faster. Within minutes, they had closed the distance. Energy blasts lit up the view screen as the pirates opened fire. The ship shook violently. Hyunwoo grabbed onto a console to keep from falling. Sparks flew from a panel near Hana's station. She cried out and fell backward, her hands covering her face. "Hana!" Hyunwoo ran to her side. Her hands were burned and she was trembling. "Sora, she needs help." Sora was already moving, but another blast hit the ship and knocked her off her feet. The navigation console was empty now and the ship was drifting. "Someone needs to take navigation," Nari shouted. "Mina, can you—" "I am on weapons," Mina interrupted. "If I stop firing, they will destroy us." Hyunwoo looked at the navigation console. He had watched Hana work for 3 months. He had asked her hundreds of questions about how she steered the ship. He did not know if he could do it, but he had to try. He slid into the seat and placed his hands on the controls. The interface was in Valari, but he had seen these screens so many times that he recognized the important symbols. Thrust control, direction, velocity, he could do this. "I've got navigation," he said. "You do not know how to fly a ship," Yuna said. "I know enough," Hyunwoo replied. "Tell me what you need." Nari made a decision in an instant. "Take us into that asteroid field," she said, pointing at the view screen. "We can lose them in there." Hyunwoo's hands moved across the controls. The ship responded sluggishly at first, but then he found the rhythm. He guided the Dawnseeker toward the asteroid field while Mina fired at their pursuers. "The pirates followed them into the rocks. Left now!" Nari commanded. Hyunwoo pulled hard on the controls. The ship banked sharply, narrowly avoiding a massive asteroid. Behind them, one of the pirate vessels was not so lucky. It clipped the rock and spun out of control. "2 more ships," Mina reported. "They are still on us." The chase continued through the asteroid field. Hyunwoo's heart pounded as he weaved between the floating rocks. Sweat dripped down his face. Every instinct screamed at him that he was going to crash, but he kept going. He had to keep going. A blast hit their rear shields. The ship shuddered. "Shields at 40%, Yuna said. "We cannot take many more hits." "There." Nari pointed at a narrow gap between 2 large asteroids. "Can you fit us through there?" Hyunwoo looked at the gap. It was barely wider than the ship. "I think so." "Do not think, no." He lined up the ship and accelerated. The Dawnseeker shot through the gap with meters to spare on either side. The pursuing ships tried to follow, but they were larger. One of them scraped against the asteroids and its hull tore open. The other pilot pulled up at the last second, breaking off the chase. For a moment, there was silence on the bridge except for the hum of the engines. Then Nari spoke. "Status report. The pirates are gone," Mina said. "We lost them." "Shields are damaged but holding," Yuna added. "Main engines are intact. We can continue the mission." Nari turned to Hyunwoo. "That was exceptional flying for someone who has never piloted a ship before." Hyunwoo let out a shaky breath. "I was just doing what Hana taught me." "Is she okay?" Sora had finished treating Hana's burns. "She will be fine. The burns are not deep, but she will need to rest for a few days." Hana looked at Hyunwoo with gratitude in her golden eyes. "You saved us," she said softly. "Thank you." Before Hyunwoo could respond, Mina approached him. Her expression was complicated, a mixture of emotions he could not quite read. "I need to say something," Mina said. She took a deep breath. "I have not been fair to you. When you first came aboard, I thought you were dangerous. I thought all humans were violent and could not be trusted. I was wrong." "It's okay," Hyunwoo said. "I understand." "No, you do not," Mina said firmly. "I had a brother. He was traveling on a merchant ship when pirates attacked. They killed everyone. I have hated pirates ever since. But I also blamed other species for not doing enough to stop them. I blamed anyone who was not Valari. When I saw you a human male, all I could think about was my brother and how I could not protect him." She paused, and Hyunwoo saw pain in her eyes. "But you are not like I thought humans would be," Mina continued. "You risked your life to help Hana. You helped save this ship and our mission. My brother would have liked you. I am sorry for how I treated you." Hyunwoo did not know what to say. He settled for a simple nod. "Thank you for telling me that." The ship continued on its course, but everyone knew they had been lucky. The pirates would not give up so easily, and the damage from the battle meant they needed to make repairs before they could complete the mission. Nari made the decision to land on a nearby, uninhabited moon. It was risky to stop, but they had no choice. The ship needed to be fixed, and the crew needed to rest. As the Dawnseeker descended toward the moon's surface, Hyunwoo looked around the bridge. These alien women had become more than just his captors. They had become his crew, and he would do whatever it took to help them complete their mission. Because now it was his mission too. The first week aboard the Dawn Seeker was the hardest week of Hyunwoo's life. Everything was wrong. The food they gave him tasted like a mixture of soap and metal. The lights never truly turned off, just dimmed to a twilight glow that made sleeping difficult. The ship's gravity felt slightly too heavy, making his body ache by the end of each day. Even the air felt different against his skin. He spent most of his time in the small cabin, staring out the window at the stars. Sometimes a crew member would bring him food or check on him. They never spoke much, just watched him with those strange vertical pupils and left quickly. He felt like a prisoner, or maybe a zoo animal. On the 8th day, something changed. The woman with golden eyes from the bridge appeared at his door. She held a datapad and smiled at him, which surprised him. None of the crew had smiled at him before. "Hello," she said through the translation device clipped to her suit. "I am Hana. I am the navigator of this ship. Captain Nari says you can leave your cabin now. You are allowed to walk in certain areas. I will show you." Hyunwoo stood up quickly, grateful for any chance to leave the room. "Thank you. I appreciate that." Hana led him through the corridors, pointing out different rooms and explaining what they were. The mess hall, the exercise chamber, the observation deck. She talked constantly, asking him questions about Earth and human culture. What did humans eat? What kind of music did they like? How did they build their ships? "Your planet sounds very interesting," Hana said as they walked. "We have heard stories about humans, but we never met one before. Some people say humans are violent and dangerous, but you do not seem dangerous to me." Hyunwoo laughed bitterly. "I'm definitely not dangerous. I just haul cargo. Before I got on this ship, the most exciting thing in my life was finding a good restaurant near the spaceport." Hana's eyes sparkled with curiosity. "Tell me about these restaurants. What food do humans like?" For the first time since boarding the ship, Hyunwoo found himself relaxing. He told Hana about Korean barbecue, about rice dishes and kimchi and all the flavors of home. She listened with genuine interest, asking questions and taking notes on her datapad. By the time they returned to his cabin, he felt almost human again. The next day, Hana came back with a small container. "I tried to make something," she said shyly, "using your descriptions. I do not know if it is correct." Hyunwoo opened the container and found something that looked vaguely like rice. It was purple instead of white and smelled strange, but when he tasted it, he nearly cried. It was not quite right, but it was closer to human food than anything he had eaten in over a week. "This is wonderful," he said honestly. "Thank you, Hana," she beamed at him. "I am glad. I will keep trying to make better food for you." As the days passed, Hyunwoo saw more of the ship and more of the crew. The gentlewoman called Sora checked on his health regularly. She took samples of his blood and scanned his body with strange devices. She was always kind and explained everything she was doing. "Your biology is fascinating," she told him one day. "So similar to ours in some ways, but so different in others. Your body runs hotter than ours. Your heart beats faster. You need different nutrients. Is that going to be a problem?" Hyunwoo asked. Sora shook her head. "No, I can adjust your food to meet your needs. And I made these for you." She handed him a small box of pills. "These will help your body adjust to our ship's environment. Take one each morning." The suspicious crew member, Mina, was less friendly. She watched him constantly, her hand always near her weapon. Whenever he walked past her, she would stop whatever she was doing and track his movements with her eyes. It made him nervous, but he tried not to let it show. The engineer, Yuna, mostly ignored him. She was always busy working on some part of the ship, muttering to herself in her own language. The translation system picked up fragments. Complaints about power couplings and coolant systems and calibration errors. Then came the incident that changed everything. Hyunwoo was in the mess hall with Hana when the ship suddenly shuddered. Red lights began flashing. An alarm blared through the corridors. Hana's eyes went wide and she ran toward the bridge. Hyunwoo followed without thinking. The bridge was chaos. Captain Nari was shouting orders while Yuna frantically worked at a console. Smoke was coming from one of the panels. "The primary coolant line has ruptured," Yuna said. "We are losing temperature control in the main reactor. If I cannot fix it in the next 10 minutes, we will have to do an emergency shutdown. If we shut down the reactor out here, we will be stranded," Nari said. "How long to repair?" "Too long," Yuna admitted. "I would need to reroute the entire system." Hyunwoo stepped forward without thinking. I might be able to help. Everyone turned to look at him. Mina's hand went to her weapon. What? She said. On cargo ships we have similar coolant systems, Hyunwoo explained quickly. They break down all the time because we use old equipment. I have fixed hundreds of them. If your system is anything like ours, I know a temporary fix that could buy you time. Yuna looked at Captain Nari. The captain hesitated for only a moment, then nodded. Show her. Hyunwoo rushed to the console and looked at the display. It was in the Valari language, but the diagram was clear enough. He could see where the rupture was and how the coolant was leaking. Do you have any emergency sealant? He asked. Yes, Yuna said. But the line is too hot to seal right now. Then we need to cool it first, Hyunwoo said. Can you vent some of the coolant from the secondary line? It will lower the pressure and temperature just enough to apply the sealant. Yuna stared at him. That is not in any manual I have read. It's not in the manual because it's a bad long-term solution, Hyunwoo admitted. But it will work for now. Trust me. Yuna looked at the captain again. Nari nodded. Together, Hyunwoo and Yuna worked to vent the coolant and apply the sealant. It was delicate work. One wrong move and they could make things worse. But Hyunwoo's hands were steady, guided by years of experience fixing broken equipment in the cold vacuum of space. After 15 tense minutes, the alarm stopped. The red lights faded. The temperature readings stabilized. Yuna sat back and let out a long breath. It worked, she said, sounding surprised. She looked at Hyunwoo with new respect. That was clever. Reckless, but clever. Where did you learn to do that? You learn fast when you work on ships that are always breaking down, Hyunwoo said with a tired smile. Human ships are not as advanced as yours. We have to be creative to keep them running. For the first time, Yuna smiled at him. Maybe there are advantages to being creative. I will remember this. Captain Nari approached him. You did well, she said simply. Thank you. That evening, when Hyunwoo returned to his cabin, he found that someone had left him a gift. It was a blanket, soft and warm, much more comfortable than the thin sheet he had been using. There was no note, but he suspected it was from Sora. Later, Hana came to his door with more food. I heard what you did today, she said. Everyone is talking about it. Yuna never admits when someone does something better than her. You impressed her. I was just trying to help, Hyunwoo said. I know, Hana said. That is why it matters. As he ate the food she brought, Hyunwoo realized something had shifted. The crew no longer looked at him like he was a dangerous intruder. They looked at him like he was a person, maybe even like he belonged here. It was a small change, but it gave him hope. Maybe these 6 months would not be as terrible as he feared. Maybe somehow he could find a way to fit in among these strange alien women, who were slowly becoming less strange and more like friends. Hyunwoo ran through the crowded hallways of Orbital Station Epsilon 7, his boots clanging against the metal floor. He was late, very late. His cargo run had taken longer than expected, and now he had less than 10 minutes to catch his transport back to Earth. Sweat dripped down his forehead as he dodged between groups of travelers and station workers. He glanced at his worn data pad, squinting at the screen. Bay 47. His ship was waiting at Bay 47. He turned a corner and saw the signs pointing to the docking bays. Bay 43, 44, 45. He was getting close. His heart pounded in his chest. If he missed this transport, he would be stuck on the station for another week. Bay 46 passed by in a blur. Then he saw it. Bay 47. The airlock door was still open, which meant the ship had not left yet. Relief washed over him. He rushed forward without looking at the display screen beside the door. He did not check the ship name or the departure details. He just ran inside. The moment he stepped through the airlock, he knew something was wrong. The interior was nothing like the cargo ships he was used to. The walls seemed to glow with a soft blue light that came from within the material itself. Strange symbols decorated the panels, and the air smelled different. It was sweet, almost like flowers, but also metallic. Hyunwoo stopped walking. He turned around to go back, but the airlock door hissed shut behind him. A red light blinked above it. Locked. His stomach dropped. He pressed the emergency release button, but nothing happened. The ship shuddered beneath his feet, and he felt the familiar sensation of a vessel detaching from the station. No, 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 he whispered. He was on the wrong ship, and it was leaving. He stumbled forward into a corridor that curved gently upward. The blue glow was everywhere. He had to find someone, anyone, who could stop the ship and let him off. His hands trembled as he moved deeper into the vessel. Every step took him further from the airlock and any chance of escape. The corridor opened into a large room filled with strange equipment. Screens floated in the air without any visible support. Holographic displays showed star charts and data he could not read. And standing around a central console were 5 figures. They were not human. They turned to look at him and Hyunwoo froze. They were humanoid, about the same height as him, but their skin had a faint iridescent quality that shifted between pale blue and silver. Their eyes were larger than human eyes, with vertical pupils like a cat. Their hair moved slightly even though there was no breeze, as if it had a life of its own. They wore form-fitting suits that seemed to be made of the same material as the ship walls. For a long moment, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Hyunwoo could hear his own heartbeat thundering in his ears. Then one of them stepped forward. She was taller than the others, with silver hair that fell past her shoulders. Her eyes narrowed as she looked at him. When she spoke, her voice came out harsh and sharp, in a language he did not understand. Hyunwoo raised his hands in what he hoped was a peaceful gesture. "I'm sorry," he said. "I made a mistake. I got on the wrong ship. Please, I need to go back." The silver-haired woman tilted her head. She said something to the others, and they responded in their strange language. One of them, shorter with dark hair, moved to a console and tapped at it rapidly. A moment later, a mechanical voice spoke in accented but understandable English. "You are human," the silver-haired woman said, though the words came from the ship's translation system. "How did you board this vessel?" "I was running late," Hyunwoo explained quickly. "I thought this was Bay 47. I thought this was my transport. I did not mean to intrude. Please just take me back to the station." The woman's expression did not change. She turned to the others and they spoke amongst themselves. Hyunwoo caught glimpses of their conversation through the translation system, but it was fragmented and unclear. Finally, the silver-haired woman faced him again. "I am Captain Nari of the Valari ship Dawn Seeker," she said. Her tone was formal and cold. "You have illegally boarded a vessel engaged in a classified mission. We cannot return to the station. Our contract forbids any delays or course changes. You will remain aboard for the duration of our journey." Hyunwoo felt his legs go weak. "How long is the journey?" 6 months, the room seemed to spin. 6 months. He would be stuck on this alien ship for 6 months. His family would think he was dead. His job would be gone. Everything he knew would be 6 months in the past by the time he got back. "You cannot be serious," he said. "Please, there has to be another way." Captain Nari's eyes flashed with something that might have been anger. "Do you think I want you here? Do you think any of us want a human male wandering our ship?" She gestured at the crew around her. "We have never encountered your kind before. We do not know if you are dangerous. We do not know if you carry diseases. We do not know anything about you except that you have complicated our mission." One of the other crew members, a woman with curious golden eyes, spoke up. The translation system rendered her words in real time. "Captain, what should we do with him?" Nari was silent for a moment. Then she sighed, a very human-like gesture that made Hyunwoo feel slightly less afraid. "We will assign him a cabin. He will stay there unless given permission to move about the ship. We will monitor him at all times." She looked directly at Hyunwoo. "If you cause any problems, if you threaten any member of my crew, I will have you confined to your quarters for the entire journey. Do you understand?" Hyunwoo nodded quickly. "Yes, I understand. I won't cause trouble. I promise." Another crew member, this one with sharp features and suspicious eyes, stepped forward. "How do we know we can trust him? He could be a spy. He could be dangerous." "I'm just a cargo hauler," Hyunwoo said desperately. "I move supplies between stations. I'm nobody important. I just want to go home." The suspicious crew member did not look convinced, but Captain Nari raised a hand to stop any further argument. "Mina, take him to the spare cabin on level 3. Make sure it is secured. Sora, I want you to examine him and make sure he does not have any biological threats to the crew." A gentle-looking woman with kind eyes nodded. "I will take care of it, Captain." Hyunwoo was led out of the bridge by the suspicious woman called Mina. She kept one hand on a weapon at her belt and stayed several steps behind him. The corridors twisted and turned in ways that made no sense to his human mind. Finally, they reached a small room with a narrow bed and a single window showing the stars streaking past. "Stay here," Mina commanded. "Someone will bring you food. Do not try to leave without permission." The door slid shut and Hyunwoo was alone. He sat on the bed and put his head in his hands. 6 months. 6 months on an alien ship with a crew that did not want him here. He looked out the window at the endless stars and wondered if he would ever see Earth again. He wondered what he had gotten himself into, and most of all, he wondered how he was going to survive.